Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Toy Tirade. You're probably wondering, Cody, why is your head being cut off? I'm sorry, I'm too tall, and the chair, well, I say chair, what I mean is table, I could lift it higher, but then it'd be too high, so we'll just say height issues is why my head is being cut off. Anyway, today we have the Maisto 2013 SRT Viper, and yes, this is before they rebranded it back to Dodge, so it really is an SRT Viper. First thing you'll notice straight away, you can't really see any of the panel gaps from here. I was going to lead with panel gaps, but you can't really tell. So, if you go up here, you can see all the panel gaps on the hood, as you can see there. And that's not to say the real car doesn't have panel gaps. It does, in a few areas, including the hood. But to that extent, no, it's definitely not as prominent as that is. And then even the doors, as you can see, have a bit of a panel gap, which definitely don't look that nice, which is a bit of a shame. And then the tailgate, oops, I probably should hold the car like this instead to show you. Yeah, and then you have panel gaps there, which the car, that's another very obvious spot for a few Vipers to have panel gap, well, Gen 5 Vipers to have panel gaps. But it's not where the ducktail spoiler is, it's where the rest of it is, the flat area. It's not as big as some of the other areas, but it's so prominent, you can see it so easily. Also, I think it should be a bit more well hidden. So another thing I want to talk about is the color. Now you can get a Viper in this type of red, but sometimes I kind of feel like even if the real car comes in a color like this, should the model be given in the same color? Because sometimes it really makes the model look flat and cheap, if you know what I mean. The color's just put it in the right light, and it looks really good. Also, by the way, had to use a really tiny chair, and yeah, still didn't work, so probably just gonna be on my knees for now. But the color in the right light, it looks good. You probably can't see it from here, or well, maybe you can, but in other areas, it's not really the best. I'm just gonna move this back here. And another thing, something I'd kind of like to talk about is the engine detailing. It's actually very, very detailed, but on the real car, there's carbon fiber on the underhood, whereas here it would be, if they just used aluminum for the whole hood, there is no carbon fiber. Right? That's what this, I guess you could say, could look like if they did that. But they didn't. They put carbon fiber. So I kind of think that they should have painted that black just to symbolize that, because anyone who knows what the underhood of a Gen 5 Viper looks like will know it's not red. At the very least, they don't use red tinted carbon fiber, and I'm pretty sure you can't tint real carbon fiber in black. In fact, if you can, tell me down below, because I'd love to know how. Then we have the wheels. You know what? The wheels actually look really good. I gotta admit, the disc brakes look kinda sort of low quality, but the wheels themselves actually look really good, and even the rubber on the tires looks really good. I mean, of course, when you don't have crumbs in it, but it does actually look really good, really nicely detailed. And that goes for the rear tire as well. And the only thing is that my model, I can't remember which front tire, one of the front tires sticks a little bit. Yours may not. I think that is a quality control issue, but you know, results may vary. Now, if we go to the interior, they've also got this pretty spot on as well. They got the instrument cluster. You know what they don't have spot on are the instruments themselves. They don't really look like Viper instruments. They look like just generic instruments they put on any other car. But the pedals, the gear shifter, the touchscreen, that looks all really rather authentic, and even the inner door panel. Oops, hold on, sorry. That's a very tough door. Even the inner door panel looks a lot like a Viper. So, a thumbs up for Maisto there for putting a lot of good detail on the on the inside of the door, the inner door panel, I guess you could say, and even the seats. One thing I don't approve of here is the side exhaust. It may look black here, but if I can see, it's not. You can see a little bit of it on that side. It's not as prominent on the right side here, but it's right and wrong. It's right in the sense that it does have an inner exhaust on the Gen 5. What's wrong here is that I don't think they've pronounced it enough. It looks too flat to me. Yeah, it's just a bit too flat. Then we go to the back, and anyone who has a Gen 5 model will know that, well, Gen 5 Mesta model, that all that grills under there, and even the reverse lights have been blacked out, or in the case of the grills, they've just been filled in. And I kind of get why Mesta did it. There's no, I mean, except for the rear taillights, they should have colored that because it's a part of the car. But I kind of get it for the grills, is that it's sort of unnecessary to leave it open. And to other people, it might look low quality, but to me, it's not that it looks low quality. It just looks really sort of cheap, like a cheat code to get to the end of the game faster. It may, to some people, it may look better, but that's not realistic to the actual car. And if that's the whole point, is that these cars are supposed to be realistic as possible, well, sorry, Mesta, but that is not realistic, and that even goes for the front grille here, because even that has been entirely filled out. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Might be hard to see on screen here. Oh, wait, no. There we go. But even other way more high-quality models, stuff that goes well over $200, even though they're filled in, but they've got a lot more depth in them. So where it blocks off the grille, it's a lot further in the grille, so it doesn't look like it's only half an inch in, or even a quarter of an inch in. It makes it look a lot closer to the actual car, even though it still blocks out the grille. The one thing I do have to say, though, is that, I'm going to have to pull this out a little bit further, is that this duct here, okay, that they have seemingly left pretty open. So, you know what? I have to commend them there, because they did leave it open. Not that you could get much in there, but they did leave it open. So that's a plus point, because they didn't block it off like they probably normally would have. Then you have the side mirrors and then the interior mirror. Not much you can do there. So, overall, I think for a kid, this is a good model, but what's funny is, because this is the 1/18th scale model on account of that, okay, because the 1/24th scale ones can't do that. As I was saying, what's funny is, even the 1/24th scale models, from what I've seen, is about the same. It's just the same mold to a smaller size, so that means, as far as I can tell, nothing that's been addressed here has been changed. All that's been done is resized. However, you can get a 1/24th scale Viper from Mesta like this in a better red, because it's actually deeper. It's a lot like those Auto World Vipers that I reviewed and showed you a few videos before. So it's a lot. So those 1/24th scale Vipers have a better color, but I believe you can get a sort of Venom or Snakeskin green for the 18th scale model, but I bet you anything, it's exactly like this, just green, which means it'll be flat. I mean, it'll be vibrant, but it will be flat, and that is a bit unfortunate. And so overall, I mean, sorry, even the hood vents here are blocked off. But I have to say, overall, this just, it looks really good from some angles, and if you ignore some of its shortcomings, it does look really good. But coming from a Viperholic, seeing all these imperfections actually really annoys me, because it sort of dilutes some of the beauty that comes with this car. So I'd have to give it a 3 out of 6, because it is trying to be really, really good. And in some areas, it's really realistic and actually does the job really well. But the doors here, the hood, all those panel gaps, and the slight dullness of the color doesn't really help its cause of being a quality model in comparison to those $200 ones. Now, I'm not saying that you should spend the $200 to get those if you really want it. Yes. What I am saying is, as I said before, I really think that some of these companies really need to step up their game, because they can make better quality models than this and not make it pricier, because I know a model, the Dodge Neon SRT4, that is a horrendously terrible model for quality. And it may still can sometimes be a lot of hit and miss. Sometimes they're really good models, they're absolutely incredible. Other times they can turn out around this range. They're good, they're decent, but they're nothing amazing. And then you get the Neon, which I'm not talking about the car, I'm talking about the quality that may still made that car in, which is terrible. So, yeah, 3 out of 6. It's good on the front of the effort. It's good for effort, and in some areas like the duct here, and actually the window seal here, because that's good, and even the front window here, that's really good. But in other places, there's too many panel gaps. It's not realistic enough. And I think the headlights are the worst offenders to this, because they're not even close to replicating it. It actually looks a lot like some of the renders I saw back when I was younger about what people thought the headlights would look like in that. And that's always a reminder to me, or the headlights always remind me of that, but they don't look anywhere close to what it actually is. I mean, except for shape. Shape is spot on, but detail, not close. So, if I were you, you see, I love 1/18th scale models a lot, because frankly, I prefer the size, and I prefer this, because you can actually store a few things in a lot of the cars, like paper clips and stuff. So, and you know what? Get a car with a big enough trunk, and they're actually a good office item, because you can store paper clips and whatever. But, honestly, I think this is one of those cases where I'd have to say, you might actually be better off with the smaller version. And that's simply because the smaller version has a better paint job. And even though it might not have smaller panel gaps, the better quality in paint makes it better than the paint here. And the paint here, the quality in terms of finish is good. It's actually got a really nice finish, but it's just dull. It's not a very deep red. It's not very outstanding red. The finish is good. It's nice. It's polished off, but it's just not very deep.